Now, Sandy, let's come back to you then, and let's move on to this issue of the People's Plan for Nature.
Yes, I mean, this is really on the back of, I was at a gathering in Devon a week or so ago, and a man handed me a paper that he'd been working on for quite a long time and asked me to read it. And I took it home, went through it, quite a large document. And he works in environmental impact, and his paper shed light on the fact that during 2018 and 2019, an extremist fringe mindset embodied by the likes of XR and the now defunct Just Stop Oil and Insulate Britain had formerly been rejected by the British public, had infiltrated many British charities up to the highest Director General level and CEO level, such as the National Trust and the RSPB and English Heritage. Charities like the National Trust and RSPB have a 5.8 million and 1.2 million, respectively, people that have signed up to what they do. These charities have adopted consultants and implemented draconian eco-extremist policies into their mission statements. Now, these charities no longer adhere to their original mission statements, but have become powerful political activist groups that push for extreme change in Britain under the guise of saving the planet and achieving net zero by 2030. By misusing or bypassing legitimate democratic process, such charities falsely claim to the mandate of their large membership bases through an NGO supported by David Attenborough called the People's Plan for Nature, or the PPFN, as it's known. This NGO played a significant part in pushing the CAN bill, which still hasn't gone away and will be up for review, unfortunately, in July. So I just want to look at the People's Plan for Nature. The People's Plan is a collective, collaborative initiative launched in 2023 by three leading UK conservation organisations, which is the WWF, as I mentioned earlier, the Royal Society for Protection of Birds, and the National Trust. The PPF does not have really any kind of head or CEO. Instead, it's jointly overseen by the leadership of three founding organisations, and that's Tanya Steele, the CEO of the WWF UK, Becky Spate, CEO of RSPB, and Hilary McGrady, Director General of the National Trust. These leaders have publicly endorsed the plan and are actively working to implement its recommendations within their respective organisations in a collaboration with other stakeholders. So let's look at this, looking at the WEF website. What transpires is that David Attenborough has inspired the UK to create the PPFN by David Attenborough's documentary series Wild Isles, which inspired a campaign called, the People's Plan for Nature, which includes 26 actions needed urgently to reverse the decline of natural world. Prior to this, in 2019, Prince William and David Attenborough called to protect the planet through a New Deal for Nature at Davos, which led to the making of a documentary, Our Wild Isles, in 2023. After these conservation charities came together, the RSPB and the National Trust, and for the first time, they created a follow-up documentary called Saving Our Wild Isles, narrated by the BBC. At the same time, the WEF Global Risk Report put environmental risk, biodiversity loss and ecosystem collapse as the fourth biggest risk in the next 10 years. So let's take a look at the closer look at the legitimacy of the People's Plan for Nature process, of the Citizens' Assembly's consultation to reach a consensus with just 103 people over a period of 4 weekends. So in 2023, the PPFN Citizens' Assembly was conducted as follows. It was about 277 people applied, 110 were selected, 107 finished the process, and 103 completed it. the age range was 16 plus, and all ticked all diversity groups, and all were financially supported with the expenses and childcare. The Assembly gave the PPFN its 26 recommendations and its legitimacy. So we were led to believe that these 103 people, including minors, were representative of the 70 million people of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, and capable of grasping the vast topic of climate change, impact on the environment, and net zero in 8 short days. In reality, these people were cherry-picked individuals steered by an expert facilitator from the engagement charity involved, using Delphi technique that led to a predetermined outcome. And that outcome was determined by the WEF, David Attenborough, the World Wildlife Fund, the National Trust, and the RSPB. The PPFN has published a 99-page report on the outcomes funded by of course, the Esme Fairbairn Foundation. So this was clearly a misuse of charitable status for political aims. The PPFN has since funded other projects like the Cairngorms Connect, the Lundy Island Take No Zone, which actually is an area that has absolutely no human activity. It's a big experiment. The Duchy of Cornwall, the foreshore, and the riverbed rights. The Cornish foreshore is owned by the Crown. And could this be closed off to protect nature? It spawned New Citizens Project with their rapid democracy process, a consultancy platform that gets public consensus very quickly. And we've got John Alexander, who's from that. He says the People's Plan for Nature is a pioneering 2-phase project gathering responses in a national consultation to a UK-wide People's Assembly for Nature designed by the New Citizen Project based on a process called rapid democracy. So they've got these consultants that actually allow these people's assemblies to happen, and how they can process that information efficiently to push the agenda. So it's just been... it begs the question just how many ordinary British people who take out annual membership of the RSPB and the National Trust, even the Women's Institute has been targeted. Do they realise they've been signed up to a militant eco-zealotry organisation, and it's actually going towards their own enslavement? And instead of flower arranging, doing garden and bird surveys and visiting country houses on a rainy Sunday, it would appear that the unsuspecting British public is being misused by the charities who hide behind the large numbers of members taken out for the original old mission statement decades ago, and who claim a mandate for extremist environmental action for a reason that science simply doesn't back up. So, it looks as though these charities have really been used. Now, I've put this document in the show notes so that people can look at this, because it might help people, for instance, who are fighting campaigns with the Malvern Trust issue that's going on there, where perhaps they could lock off human activity on the Malvern Hills, and certainly with the WHS status that we're fighting here, where we're trying to bat off UNESCO from actually taking control of my town. So that's really a good deep dive into that, so people can use that as a resource, hopefully.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you for that. Okay, Vanessa, let's come back to the Middle East then, and